Notice of completion for transition nursing. This presentation will guide you through the process of submitting the Notice of Completion form for the transition nursing program. We offer this transition to licensed practical nurses and paramedics. Nursing requires each student to view this presentation at least once, but serious students will appreciate its importance to them and use it as a reference whenever necessary. Each advisor strives to give students the best advice possible. However, with so many facts to remember, omissions can occur. It is in the student's best interest to review this presentation as often as needed to feel confident in the advice being offered. If you feel the advice you've received is different from the facts in these presentations, please ask. The accompanying handouts are the most up-to-date information available and are designed to be a reference to you. It is your responsibility to ensure you understand the information in the presentations and the handouts. This form is used by transition nursing students only. Beginning practical nursing students and regular associate degree nursing students use a competitive entry and don't submit a notice of completion. Presentation overview. In this presentation, we will be discussing helpful handouts, what a notice of completion is, items required for a notice of completion, how to take the ATI test, how a notice of completion is used in transition nursing, how to submit a notice of completion, how you will know if your name is on the list, when you will begin the clinical program. Helpful handouts. In addition to viewing this presentation, be sure to download these helpful handouts that provide more detailed information and that you can use as a reference. What is a notice of completion? It's a form you submit to nursing to indicate your interest in and completed requirements for transition nursing. Refer to the handout called Notice of Completion linked here. At this time, our transition nursing program doesn't use a competitive entry system. So far, each semester we have had enough seats to satisfy the demand. Once a student completes the requirements on this form and submits it to the nursing office, Fulk 401, he or she will be placed on the complete list and be eligible for the next available class. More details about this process will be discussed in the following slides. Items required for the Notice of Completion. Please note the courses required for the Notice of Completion if you are an LPN. Occasionally, a student will ask if being enrolled in a class is sufficient for counting it on the Notice of Completion. A student must have a grade of at least C in the required classes to count on the Notice of Completion. If you have transfer classes, please allow student records enough time to evaluate your transcript for equivalent courses. Each transition student is required to participate in this Notice of Completion segment of the presentation before the form can be submitted to nursing. You will be asked to evaluate this presentation in a bit. This evaluation verifies your participation. A South Carolina practical nursing license, current and in good standing, must be noted as license number. A student may contact the South Carolina Licensing Board for information about receiving a South Carolina license if the current license is from another state. The GPA must be a full 2.5. 2.49 will not satisfy the requirement. Notice of Completion for paramedics. Please note the requirements for the Notice of Completion if you are coming to transition nursing as an associate degree paramedic. You will follow the guidelines described on the previous slide with these revisions. Your associate degree in applied science must be in emergency medical technology and appear on our student record system. A copy of your National Registry card must also be submitted with your Notice of Completion. Your GPA must be a cumulative GPA of at least 2.5. Your AAS degree GPA must also be at least 2.5. You will be required to take the TEAS test offered at our assessment center. Transition Complete List. Requirements continued. The entrance test for transition nursing is the ATI test of ADN fundamentals and the TEAS test. Details for completing the test appear on the next slide. They are also in the handout called ATI Test Information. As part of the admissions process, a student will submit a high school transcript. How to take the ATI and TEAS. These details can be downloaded by printing the handout called ATI Test Information. If a student doesn't pass the ATI on the first attempt, it is strongly advised they review their weak areas summarized at the atitesting.com website under My Results. The student should take the time to study before repeating the test. If a student is unsuccessful on both attempts, they would gain entry using the competitive clinical entry process and begin at the Associate Degree Nursing 139 beginning level. The TEAS test is now required for entry and can be taken at the assessment center as well. A student submits a notice of completion to the nursing department to indicate interest and preparedness for transition nursing. This form places your name on the complete list for transition nursing. A student whose name is on the complete list is eligible to accept a seat in transition nursing for the first available class. The earlier you submit your notice of completion, the earlier you can be considered for a seat in transition nursing. Each requirement must be satisfied before the form is accepted. Once the notice of completion has been verified, you will receive an email in your Tri-County Technical College email account noting your complete date. It is extremely important to complete all requirements before submitting the notice of completion to secure your complete date. When will you begin nursing 145 transition nursing? When your seat is available, email notification will come in your TC email account of your acceptance to transition nursing. This email will contain a deposit letter, date for your mandatory orientation, and other important attachments for your information. You should look for it on your TC inbox during the months of June, July, August for fall entry, and September, October, November for spring entry. Please note there is no guarantee that transition students will be accepted each January and August. We are held to budget constraints and must follow guidelines. So far, this hasn't been a problem. One additional note. The program fee for transition is $235. For an explanation of this fee, please see Getting Started and Next Step. Nursing 162. You will take Nursing 162 along with Nursing 145, 146 Transition Nursing. In summary, after participating in this presentation, we hope you understand the process for and importance of submitting your notice of completion as soon as possible. You are welcome to view this presentation as often as you wish to review the information. Evaluation email. When you submit the email presentation evaluation form, you have verified your participation in the notice of completion presentation. This satisfies one requirement on your notice of completion form. You will find the verification form in the list of handouts to the right of this screen. Thank you.